Hey y'all, it's Corbin, and I'm here to talk to y'all about the Real Housewives of Atlanta, season 17, episode 5. Instead of hey, I should have said howdy. I actually got this hat from Dallas. So I was in Dallas a few months ago. Two of my dearest friends, and I use dearest friends honestly very loosely, they are family. But two of my friends, they live in Dallas and they live in downtown Dallas. I had such a ball when I was there. I stayed with them for a few days and I was at the farmers market. I was at all the brunches. I was dancing the night away. It was such a good time. And while I was there, I was like, I could totally live here. But I will keep it honest with y'all. I say that everywhere I go when I'm on vacation. But I really could live in Dallas. But without further ado, let's get into the episode. So we open up with a scene between Cynthia, Phaedra, and Adrian Malouf from the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Cynthia and Adrian, they're partnering for this tequila line. Now, unlike Shamea, this tequila line I feel like is going to do some numbers because Adrian has money. She has the coin and the business mindset to back it up. Let me tell y'all something about Miss Adrian for y'all who don't know her. Miss Malouf, okay? She was on the first few seasons of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. She lived in a mega mansion, okay? That house was massive. This house they were staying in Dallas, you could probably fit three of those in her house. You combine three of those and it'll probably be a little bit less than her house. If even that, like that house was massive, but her family owned the Palms Casino. They own a professional team. I can't remember if it was the NBA, the MLB, or the NFL, but they owned a team. Her husband was a plastic surgeon. He was on the show Botched. Like Adrian was that girl. Adrian was that girl. She's very like it's a business minded. So she actually tried to come up with another line. It was a shoe line, and one of the other housewives, Lisa Vanderpump, she called it the Maloof Hoof, which how ironic that we're talking about hooves and we're in Texas now. So let's put on our Maloof hooves and get into this rodeo because that's what this episode was. It was a rodeo. It was a show. It was entertaining. It was very unexpected. But they're meeting with Adrian. They're talking about the trip and just setting the scene for all the drama that is to come. They talk about Portia and Kelly. Phaedra asks Cynthia, hey, have you seen Portia? Have you talked to her? And we reflect on that drama for a little bit. We reflect on the Pinky and Phaedra drama of it all, which I'll discuss once we get there because I'm kind of over this drama non-drama that's happening, but we discussed that and we just set the scene for the future. Phaedra, she throws in a little one-liner, her little hoo hoo hoo, like she always does because Bravo is paying all this money to her for her to do nothing. I don't blame her. If her job is going to pay me a lot of money to do nothing, why not? Give them the bare minimum. We fast forward to the trip, and the girls are boarding a private jet. We're taking this jet from Atlanta to Dallas, and we end up getting a prayer from Pinky that is 10 hours long. This prayer was so long, you could have left the plane, got in your car, got a rental car at the airport, took it to Dallas, and they would have still been on the tarmac praying. Pinky, she just loved to talk. That's what I'm getting from this is that she just loves to talk. And the reason I say is because as soon as the plane takes off, someone asks Angela just about the foreclosures or her financial situation dealing with the house and her investments. And Pinky jumps in, starts talking about the bankruptcy for the 15th time. Pinky, you have told all the girls about the bankruptcy. You finally told your husband about it. You probably told the TSA on the way into the airport. You're telling all of us about it. You talked to the bankruptcy lawyer, but you still haven't filed for bankruptcy. You done told the gynecologist. You done told the staff at the Slutty Vegan. You done told the traffic cop that pulled you over. You done told the ticket staff at the airport. Like, you just been telling everybody you're thinking about filing for bankruptcy. Either you're going to do it or you're not going to do it. But you need to make a decision, girl, because this is all we are talking about. I understand it's your life, and at least you have a storyline, Phaedra. But What else is going on, Pinky? What else is going on? Let it come naturally. The girls are going to ask you about it, whether it's to check on you or to be shady. If you're going to go through with it, you're going to have to meet with the lawyers. Your husband's going to ask you about it again now that y'all, it's an issue now in your relationship. So just let it come naturally. It seems like you're just forcing it down our throat. So you're just hammering it, pushing it. We get it, okay? But Angela, she gets into her confessional and starts talking about how she lost $2 million of her own money and she didn't owe anyone money and starts explaining the foreclosure. I don't know anything about a foreclosure, but I thought with a foreclosure, you owed the bank money on the house. And that's why it was going into foreclosure because you weren't paying. So it sounds like you owe people money to me. Or am I wrong? Angela, make it make sense. Y'all all just struggling, okay? Now, Angela, you're probably in less of a struggle because you have your man. And Pinky, she has her man too. Actually, Kelly's the one that's really struggling, but let's not act like y'all weren't struggling financially. 2 million, whether you rich or not, y'all ain't that rich. That 2 million is not a little hit. So, K Michelle, she ends up talking about her and her husband and how they don't have a prenup. And I get it. Like, you've known this man since high school, I think she said. And he's a doctor. He's pretty, like, low key, like a low key person. We've seen him. He's just a very normal, calm person. He doesn't like the spotlight, from what you can tell. With that being said, just because you feel like you know someone, when it comes to heartbreak and then splitting assets and money, men get funny. Men get funny when it comes to money. There's been so many situations in all these shows where these girls think, oh, I know my husband, he would never do this. And then as soon as you find out or as soon as things start getting tough, the lawyers are in the courtroom just pulling the wallets. They just pulling the wallets to see who gets it. So, okay, girl, be careful. Just be careful, is all I have to say. I'm not saying he's going to scam you, or not even scam. I'm not saying he's going to take your money, but you just never know these days. Then she says that she wishes he had social media because she believes that all men cheat and it's easier to track them through social media. And the girls are like, no, what? Now, I don't agree that all men cheat. I'm not saying people don't cheat, men, women, like people from different groups cheat. That doesn't mean everyone cheats, but I do agree that social media is not going to stop a man from cheating. Okay, back in the 90s, the 80s, the 70s, shoot, the 1800s, men were out here cheating, men were out here living with separate, having separate families. There was no social media then. Social media is not going to stop them now. If someone does want to cheat, they will. But we fast forward and we get off the plane, we get on the bus, and the girls are still having a good time and just chatting it up on the bus. I was surprised at how left things went at the end of the night because it just seemed like as they were traveling, everyone was just in good spirits, everyone was having a good time, and then we get to the house and everything went downhill so quickly. Drew starts talking about Black on the bus, and she's like, okay, Michelle, you know him. And Kay is like, I do not know that man. I know of him, but I do not know him. And I agree. Just because someone slides into your DMs and they're always messaging you, you know, commenting on your stories and stuff, doesn't mean you know them. You know of them. But I understand why Drew thought that because when Drew had the phone and was introducing everyone to Black at Portia's house, Kay was like, oh, it's so good to see you. It just felt so casual. Like they knew each other. So from the outside looking in, if I was Drew, I'd be like, okay, I get it. Drew is like, anyways, it doesn't matter. He just loved to meet all of y'all. Like he loved Angela, he loved Portia, he loved Kay. He was just having a ball on the phone, and he was having a ball on the phone for 3 hours at Portia's house because he's a thirsty man, just like your ex Drew. We stop at a gas station so the girls can take a break, get some snacks, use the restroom. Shamea starts talking about, oh, my parents were truck drivers. We pee in cups. And I'm like, girl, just hover. Hover, lay down some toilet paper on a seat or something. But I feel like peeing in a cup and then splashing it in there is extra work and it's extra messy. I feel like at this point, Shamia just be saying stuff to say stuff. She says stuff for shock factor. She says stuff for attention. Like she just, Shamia is going to be Shamia. That's all I'll say. She did say one funny thing earlier when they were on the plane and the girls were talking about their financial situations. She's like, the most I have to worry about is getting to Chick-fil-A before lunchtime. Because, Shamea's bills are paid. Shamea is taken care of. And she's like, do I need to worry about this when I have this rum company? No, because the rum company's not going to make it anywhere. So you don't need to worry about anything. It's going to fail. You're not going to follow through with it because you're not business minded and you're asking the wrong questions. And you'll be back to worrying about getting to Chick-fil-A before lunchtime. So don't worry about it, girl. But the girls end up getting to the house like 6 hours later, and I'm like, this is ridiculous. Y'all are definitely not staying in Dallas because it's not like they were sitting in the highway. And I'm like, okay, they're in like Dallas traffic. From the looks of it, when they were talking, it looks like they were driving pretty fast for 6 hours. So like, y'all are far. I don't know I hope y'all are still in Texas at this point. But they get to the house and the house is nice. It's really nice. So there's one big main house. There's a pool house that has two bedrooms, a kitchen, and everything else in it. And then there's like a little like separate guest house. It's one bed, one bath, has a kitchen, everything in that too. Now, when I go on vacation, I am the turn up queen on vacation. Okay, I am drink sun up to sun down. Take me on all the excursions. Let's go eat all the food, drink all the drinks, do all the activities. But then at the end of the night, I do not want to be bothered. When it is time to wind down, leave me alone. With that being said, I would have been fine in the guest house. I would have been fine in the pool house. I don't need to be in the main house. Keep me away from all of y'all because once I am tired, I am tired. So they start doing a tour of the house, and Cynthia knew that this room assignment was going to be a problem because when they get to the pool house, Cynthia's like, "Oh, well, I'm gonna put two of like the closest friends here," and then she continues and keeps going. Just let them know they're gonna be in there now. And it was just the way, even after the tour, when she starts talking about assigning the rooms, that she's like building up to say it. It was like almost like she didn't want to say it. Like if you didn't want to say it, you knew it was going to be a problem. If you didn't feel like it was going to be a problem, you would have said it loud and proud with your chest, like, "Oh yeah, y'all are going to be here." And then as soon as they started complaining, you'd be like, "What? What's wrong? Why are you complaining?" Like you would have handled like that, but you already had that guilt in there. You ain't fooling us, Cynthia. And so, honestly, with the room assignments, I think the appropriate people were in the main house. Pinky, girl, bye. Kelli and Shamea, girl, bye. Yes, this was right. They did this right. Cynthia did this right. So, scared or not, she did it right. Nervous or not to tell them, she did it right. Now, the girls go their separate ways and they go into their rooms. Shamea and Kelli are just complaining. Kelly's like, "You put me in this small room, girl. You're the tiniest one. You need to be in a small room. You lucky she didn't shove you in the closet with a sleeping bag. Like, girl, you're tiny. What do you need a big room for?" And so she's like, "Oh, I'm not used to staying like this, even though, I'm not in the best finances. I've leveled up." Kelli is exhausting. Shamea is exhausting. And what's pissing me off about this season is I am waiting for them to get dragged. I'm waiting for them to get dragged for all the complaining, for all the crap they've been talking behind everybody's backs. I am just waiting for them to get dragged. And it's not happening yet. Why is Pinky getting dragged this episode? Why? I mean, she had it. We'll get there. We'll get there. But yeah, they're complaining. They're just being negative Nancy's. And then we discover, though, that the room is dirty. Now, I'm with them on a few things. As much as they're complaining and as much as I'm waiting for them to get dragged, I'm with them on a few things. One, if the room is dirty, I'm going to have a problem with it too. And I'm going to complain. You already got them in a pool house. But then, two, not only is the room dirty, then you got the chefs cooking in the pool house with them. And I'm sure they can smell all the ingredients, smell all the food. What if they don't want to smell all these strong aromas while they're trying to nap or they're trying to, get ready for dinner? That felt shady. I don't care what anyone says. The fact that you had them in a pool house and they had the chefs and everyone getting ready at the pool house to serve the dinner up, why couldn't they get ready in the main kitchen? And all these other shows, when they're preparing dinners, they do it in the main kitchen, in the house. On top of that, where they were eating at the pool house to where they were eating at, because at some point when they're sitting by the pool, we get that camera angle. It was far. So you got them down there preparing all this food. Then they had to carry it all the way up to the house. For what? Y'all had them down there on purpose. You're not fooling me. So them being mad about the cleanliness and then just all these people just in their space getting ready while they're trying to relax after flying for 10 hours, after dealing with a 6-hour drive. I understand. I am with Kelli and Shamea on that. I'm one thing I'm not going to do. I'm gonna be a little biased because that's the point is we have opinions, but I'm gonna call a spade too. And if I agree with them, I'm going to agree with them. If I disagree with them, which is going to be a lot, I'm going to disagree. But yeah, I was with them with that. You know, stuck me in the pool house, got the chef in here, the maids in here, got everybody else in here. Well, not the maid because clearly the place was dirty, and it's dirty. Those are the biggest things right there. But as much as they complain, I'm like, if you're going to complain about it, just like K. Michelle said when they were doing a tour, K. Michelle was like, if I end up in here, I'm going to stay in a hotel. Go get a hotel. Go get a hotel room. Especially you, Shamir. You got it like that. Go get a hotel. If there's one nearby, is the other thing because y'all are 6 hours away from the airport. So who knows where y'all are in the middle of nowhere. There might not be a hotel out there to even stay in. But if you got the coin, you can figure it out. We fast forward to dinner, and three of the girls are not coming. Kelli's not coming, Shamea's not coming, and K. Michelle is not coming. I felt like it was very disrespectful to Cynthia to not come. Like she's been trying to be a gracious host. At the end of the day, Cynthia might be a little shady, but Cynthia's intentions are always good. She's never going to intentionally set anyone up for anything. So it was crazy that they didn't show up. Like, okay, y'all can't shower because y'all shower is dirty. Y'all are staying in the house that I'm sure has at least like 5 or 6 extra bathrooms somewhere. Go get ready in someone else's room. And then Kay, you told me, oh, I don't have any glam and stuff like that. Well, what were you film? What were you wearing the whole time when you were on the plane? When you were on the bus showing up to the house? You looked like you had the same face on, and your face looked fine. You're being too critical of yourself. Your face looked fine. K. Michelle was acting very off. Like when Drew said at the end of the episode, like, I don't know what's going on with Kay. She's like a negative Nancy. That's what it was given. You're saying you don't want to sit there and you don't want to eat dinner because of your glam, but you're filming still. You've been filming all day. You came and filmed afterwards, and then y'all ended up at the dinner table afterwards. And that's what y'all get because I felt like, not Kay, but I felt like Shamea and Kelli probably thought, oh, without us, there's not really going to be a scene because Kelli has a drama with Portia and stuff like that. And honey, there was a scene without y'all. Y'all were missing out, and then y'all wanted to be a part of it. Now, it's too late. That ship has sailed. So for the remainder of the episode, we split off into pretty much two scenes. We have the poolside scene and the dinner scene. I'm going to go through them one at a time. We'll just, of course, knock the poolside scene out the way because the dinner is what really matters. So, with the poolside scene, Shamia and Kelli are sitting by the pool. Angela comes to check on them first, and she's just asking her, are they okay? They have all this rah rah energy, like, no, we're not okay. We hate this. This is the worst. The room is dirty. Life is terrible. I can't believe all of this is happening. I can't believe it's not butter. And Angela is like, well, I kind of knew y'all were going to be staying here when Cynthia said the two closest people were going to stay here. Here goes Kelli. Frickin' frack is whack and they need to stay here. Say it to their face. You're never going to say it to their face. Like, Kelli, you're not that girl I thought you were. Because at first I was like, okay, Kelli has like a little mouth on her, but all her mouth is behind the scenes. I have not seen you bust a grape in a fruit fight yet in Welch's backyard. Okay, like you are just a bunch of mouth, and it's so irritating. This is why I can't wait for her to get dragged. Shamia, not so much. She is messy, and I want someone to hand it to her. But Kelli is really the one. I just want someone to verbally just let her have it. And I feel like we're not going to get it to way further down the season. I know we're going to get it. There's no way she's getting away with all of this. There's no way. There's no way. If she makes it all the way to the reunion unscathed, because the reunion she's definitely not escaping, I'm gonna be even sad still then because she needs to catch away before then. But she's running her mouth about that, and Angela, she's like, "Oh, I know you're gonna go tell them, so go ahead and go tell them because I'll say it to their face." Which Kelli is right. Angela's gonna go run up there and tell because Angela, that's what she does. And so we get past that. K Michelle ends up joining them later. They talk about Kelly and how her husband's making life difficult for her. She cries about that. And then they ask K Michelle about her music career, and she's just talking about how in the country industry, you have to have an album out in at a certain time. But she has more songs that she wants to put out, so she's not done yet. And I will say this: it may not have been as entertaining as what was happening up at the dinner, but it was still a cute scene, just seeing the girls just hanging out by the pool, talking and relaxing. That's what I loved about this episode is that it was a good balance of chilling and having fun and some, girls moments, and we're just like kikiing, enjoying some drinks on the plane, talking on the bus, drinking by the poolside. Like it had those moments, and then we had a big confrontation too. It was the best of both worlds. And even the drama, this whole thing about like the rooms being dirty and stuff like that, the accommodations being messed up. As much as I hate and I feel like it's so tired and played out when these grown women fight over rooms and accommodations, the dirtiness, like I said, I understand. Oh, and then Cynthia, speaking of dirtiness, she goes down to check on them. And Cynthia was trying. She went and checked on them. She told the lady upstairs when they were bringing out the food, she was like, "Can you send some food down to the poolside for them?" She was trying. But she gets down there to check on them. And she's like, I heard you guys like really mad and y'all have this rah rah energy. And we're going to find out why she heard that in a second. But they're like, yeah, like we were really mad. But they specify, like, we're not mad at you. Like, we're mad that the room is dirty and stuff like that, but we're not mad at you. And so Kelly's like, yeah, like we're best friends, just not dirty friends. And Cynthia's like, look, I need y'all to stop saying dirty. So I know why Cynthia's saying this. Two things. One, if the room was dirty, it's dirty. You can't filter them on what they experienced. The room was dirty. We saw some pictures. Now, it wasn't like terrible, but it was dirty enough to say it was dirty. On the other half of it, Cynthia, you know how these shows work. Not Cynthia, but you, as in, like, we know how these shows work. When you host a trip, and you get a house, depending on who's hosting the trip, usually they have a relationship with the person who owns the house. And they made a deal of, hey, we're going to promote your house. We're going, or they're friends already. And it's like, I'm doing you a favor. And so Cynthia's probably feeling like I'm doing them a favor by letting them know I'm going to promote their house on the show. And these girls are dragging it. All we're hearing is dirty, 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 dirty. Stop saying dirty. So I get both sides of it. I'm like, Cynthia, girl, if it was dirty, it was dirty. Sorry. The next scene is the dinner scene, and let me put on my glasses. Because it's either red or be red, honey, and the girls are reading. Let me put on my reading glasses for the reads. So, Pinky, she starts interrogating Cynthia about the whole room situation. She asks what were the intentions behind the room assignments. She talks about how the other girls were mad, and she says she was feeling some type of way about it at first, but then she got over it. And she's just trying to understand the girls. And so Cynthia, she's a little taken aback. She's like, she explains herself and why she put everyone where she put everyone. Like I said, it wouldn't have been a big deal to me. Keep me away from y'all. We can do all this fighting here. Because after a night like this, especially, I'd have been drained and want to go back to solitude also. But Cynthia's like, this energy you're coming at me with is not the same energy that they had. And Cynthia, they have this energy. They just don't have it to your face because Shamea and Kelli are confessional gangsters. That's why they are punks. Let's be honest. They are very much, we're gonna have this energy towards everybody else except for the person it's about, and when we're around them, it's going to be a completely different story. So that doesn't surprise me. But Portia, she diffuses the situation by complimenting Cynthia's hosting skills. And Cynthia, she's trying. She's trying. Like I said, she was going to get some food sent down to them. She went down to check on them after this because I'm sure that kind of sparked something too. She's like, oh, like they're really feeling some type of way. So while Cynthia goes down to check on them, the girls continue talking. We end up talking about the Portia and Kelli situation. And so they ask, like, have you talked to Kelli since? She's like, no. They talk about the whole flower situation when Portia sent the flowers to Kelly's event. She's like, broken flowers for a broken woman because she can say that on the phone, but not in person. The last time you saw her, you went running out of the vegan charity event. Then here we go at a dinner. You're avoiding her during dinner. It's given punk to me. But they talk about that, and so Pinky, she calls Portia out though. She's like, but girl, didn't you say she was sleeping with a married man? And Portia was like, yeah, but it's because she said it first. And what she said about me was false, but what me saying it about her is true. Portia doubles down on it. And Angela, she gets into her confessional and it's like, I don't know what Kelli and Portia's obsession is with sleeping with married men. She's like, as a married woman, I take my vows very seriously. And Portia got a lot of nerve after what she said about Charles. And I said, that's right, Angela, clock it. Okay? That, I, like I said, the whole thing with Phaedra coming at Angela with this whole, the Godfather of Atlanta, whatever that man said, he can go away. But you got some girl still sitting in your face that as soon as she gets mad at you, she's going to say she's going to sleep with your husband. We'd have a problem for a while. Because I'm like, what's going to happen the next time we have a disagreement? We would have a problem for a while. I would not let that go. Phaedra, whatever. But we get past that, and then we get on this Phaedra saying Pinky was eating meat situation again. Now, my problem with this beef is this. Both of them keep saying they don't have a problem with each other, but both of them keep talking behind each other's backs. I don't get it. Pinky, I can understand a little bit because you heard this rumor, and so you're kind of mad about it. But you could have went and just asked Phaedra about it a long time ago. Y'all could have had a sit down. Y'all could discuss this at one of these events. Y'all could have been hashed this out. On the other side of it, Phaedra, you keep saying you don't have a problem with Pinky, but you're shading her every 2 seconds too. Like y'all are both doing the same thing. And I'm tired of talking about it, especially because I'm so irritated that Kelli is the one that said it. Oh, Kelli. That girl just, oh, she irks my nerves. But Kelli is the one that said it. And here we are. All this fighting is happening, and she's not being held accountable. They start getting into this, and honestly, this battle that ensued between Pinky and Angela should have been Pinky and Phaedra. Phaedra, when is the last time you've been in a read off? We keep talking about how Phaedra is like the queen of shade and we love her shade and her one liners and stuff like that. But when is the last time she's really been into it? You need to work for this check. Y'all have an issue? Let's hash it out. Let's see how you hang in there. But it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. So they start talking about that. And Pinky, she's just pretty much like, well, if Phaedra didn't say it, who said it? And so she has all this like energy, and it's just her tone of voice. And so I don't think this argument started because of Pinky's energy. Okay, Pinky makes a comment and she goes, oh, it's giving a house divided. And when she said that, Portia agreed. And I kind of agreed too. It's definitely very much K. Michelle is leaning towards the other girls, especially after she felt like she got slighted by Portia. She feels like she can't trust Phaedra. And so it's K. Michelle, Kelli, and Shamea on this side. And then you have Angela, Portia, and Phaedra on the other side. And it very much feels like, I feel like Cynthia is trying to be neutral. She's trying to do both sides. Pinky, I don't know what Pinky got going on, but Pinky's just being Pinky. And so I agree with it. I agree with it. Angela's very much as she's like, oh, I got my eye on them. Angela, it very much feels like you love cozying up to them too. But she says that. Portia agrees. And so Angela is just like, girl, like, why do you have this energy? What's going on? Like, it feels like very aggressive. It feels very hostile. Now, I do feel like Pinky had a very aggressive, hostile tone, but I also don't think it was intentional. I think this is just who Pinky naturally is. Pinky is a loud person. Pinky likes to talk. Pinky likes to be heard. And so I think it was just more so a personality thing. I don't think she was intentionally trying to be hostile. I think she was just saying it as it is. Because on top of that, when Portia gave Cynthia the compliment on being a good host, Pinky backed her up on that too. Pinky's like, no, yeah, like you are a good host. You've been doing a good job. So like it's just her tone. Her tone is bad. And I feel like that's what Angela was trying to tell her. And Pinky just took it to another level. And so we got to where we got to. So let's get into it. She says it's given hostile. And it's given she's not it's given hostile. Pinky says that it's giving a house divided. Portia agrees. And then Pinky says, even though it's given a house divided, I don't have a problem with anyone here. I don't have a problem with anyone over there either. Angela makes a face and Portia acknowledges it. And she's like, Angela, you making a face? And so Pinky goes, yeah, say it with her chest, Angela. And I'm like, that already right there. Like if I was sitting at a table and you're just loud and then you're just having this tone at me, we're gonna get into it too. So I understand both sides of it. I understand you were trying to naturally be yourself and you weren't trying to be hostile, but you were being extra. You were being extra. And I don't like extra people. We would have gotten into it also. So she goes, say it with your chest, Angela. And Angela's like, you're on ready, and it's not that type of time. She's like, you come across as bothered. Pinky's like, I'm not bothered by anything. I'm not bothered by you. And Portia, she goes, oh my gosh. Like they start going back and forth a little bit. And Pinky's like, I'm not bothered by you. And Angela's like, you seem bothered. And they're going back and forth saying that for a while. And Portia's looking like, wait a minute. Cynthia's like, what? And Portia's like, this is turning. And that's the same thing I said because when I knew from the previews they were going to get into an argument, but I wasn't expecting it to escalate the way it escalated. So as it started, I was saying the same thing. I was like, oh, this is escalating. And so Angela goes, I'm not trying to be a threat, but you come across as bothered. And Pinky, she's like, there's nothing about you that's a threat head to toe. And they start getting physical. Angela's like, oh, you want to talk about the physical? We can talk about the physical, honey. Like, since you're saying you're not bothered by me, it's giving you're very much bothered by me. They're going back and forth. She's like, we could do a walk off. Like, you want to walk this off? And I wish they would have done that because that gold dress Angela was wearing looked real nice. That blue dress Pinky was wearing, not so flattering. I think Angela would have wanted to walk off just based off the dress. So then she's like, they start talking about the walk off. And so when she says that, Pinky's like, bitch, like my heels are real high. And Angela's like, bitch. Portia's like, wait a minute, bitch. And as soon as we got there, I was like, oh, here we go. It's going left. They're down there by the pool. They're like, oh my God, we hear some commotion going on up there. Yeah, y'all are missing out. Should have went to dinner. And so Pinky's like, no, I'm using bitch as a term of endearment, which I don't think she was using. Like she said, she was like, bitch, my heels are high or something along the lines like that. But Angela gets into her confessional and she was like, I'll be that bitch. I'll be Miss Bitch Oakley for you. And Angela turned into that bitch. They start going back and forth. Angela goes, this is my favorite line of the whole argument. She said, I can throw a rock and hit 10 people you owe. That was my favorite line. She's like, I can throw a rock and hit 10 people you owe. Pinky brings up her foreclosures. Angela's like, you need to pay your employees. Pinky's like, girl, fix your wig and your wig glue. Angela's like, okay, Mr. Clean, don't do it, Pop or Smurf. And then Angela's like, Angela's like, you need to buy your businesses back. Pinky's like, I did. Cash, cash, cash. And then she gets up and she's like, you can kiss my ass, and starts slapping her ass. Angela's like, girl, you are not my type. Okay. And then Pinky's like, well, let me tell you why you a hating ass bitch. Angela's like, I'm a hating ass bitch. And she's like, yes, you were a hating ass bitch because you sat there and threw the situation in my face like you cared. Angela's like, I don't give a fuck. She said, I don't like you. Okay. And Pinky's like, well, your husband doesn't like you. Angela's like, your husband got a living wife in the basement. I'm like, oh my gosh. They're just going for the juggler. They were going back and forth. It was, where's my tennis racket? Dang it, I don't have my tennis racket with me. It was a tennis match, I tell you. And so they're just going back and forth again. And Angela's like, look, my husband likes me. She was like, when I take this wig off and stuff like that, like I can still get the same man. And she's like, no, when you take that off, you look like a boy. Damien. I'm not gonna lie, I chuckled at that. I know people were probably gonna be like, oh, it was so corny. No, I chuckled at it. I chuckled at that. And so yeah, they go back and forth. The girls, they come up there and they're just like awkwardly just like standing around the table, and it's like, what are y'all doing? Y'all look ridiculous. Y'all look like fans watching the show. That's what y'all look like. And that's what y'all are, is two fans. Not K. Michelle, but the other two. Two fans watching the show. Child. Mm-mm-mm. But Drew ends up telling the girl, she's like, can y'all sit down? Because y'all look ridiculous. And Kay's like, I'm not going to sit down. Like, I'm about to head out. I look a mess right now. And Drew is confused by Kay's energy. And like I said, so am I. Because I'm like, Kay, what is going on with you? You're acting like you've never been on a TV show before. You filmed all day with this makeup on. With whatever that beat was. Because your face looked beat. And if it wasn't beat, your face looked good. So you filmed all day looking like how you was looking. You're up there at the dinner table already. You might as well have just sat down. Like, I don't understand what was going on with her, but it was just weird. But the girls finish their argument. They part ways, and Cynthia's like, this was a dinner from hell. I hope that they can make amends. I hope the girls stop saying the house is dirty. I hope we can just figure this out. And that's where the episode ends. Now, takeaways from this dinner. One, Drew's face card, 10 out of 10. Drew was looking so good sitting at that table. I was like, oh my gosh. All the ladies look good, but Drew was looking real, real good. Second thing to take away from this dinner is that Angela won. Angela won the back and forth. Now, it wasn't like she just completely dragged her now. It was a good ping pong match. And that's why I'm glad Pinky held in there. Pinky was not backing down, and I respect her for that. Because had it been anybody else, I feel like it would have just gotten unhinged. But Angela won, and she won for these reasons. She remained seated. Pinky, you got up twice. Okay, you got up to slap your ass, and the ass wasn't ass. And at least it's natural. I'll give you that. But the ass won't ass. And like Phaedra said, you gotta have a dunk if you're gonna be slapping it. Okay. But the second thing is you got up again. You tried to walk off, and then Angela's like, "Oh, you're leaving? You're done? You don't want to talk about your business anymore?" And then you had to sit back down, girl. Like she had you flustered, honey. So you got up twice. Once to slap your ass, it didn't work out. The second time to walk off, and then you end up doubling back because Angela was gonna call you out on walking off. The third part of it is Angela just sat there with that whine so calm. Like she didn't need to raise her voice too much. She didn't need to get up. She had the wine glass in her hand. And one thing about when you're reading, you gotta look good. If you're getting read, and Cynthia's the one who taught us this seasons ago. If you get read, make sure you look good while you're getting read too, because at least they can't call you, unattractive like Angela did. If you was really looking that good, you would have got up and been like, "Look at this." But you got up and slapped your ass and it didn't work. Sorry, Pinky. Like I said, I commend you for hanging in there though. It was a battle. But that is my thoughts on this episode. Let me know what you guys think. Bye, y'all.